Welcome back. As you can see, I finished sealing the wall and I've begun building the backdrop wall. That wall there is really not permanent, but it is a temporary wall that is resting on the floor and leaning against the wall and is held up with a limited number of screws to the ceiling. What is different about this wall than, say, a permanent wall is the fact that it's really not touching the block. If I can show you here, I'm going to go right behind the stud. If you see that right there, that's a piece of 1/2 inch thick treated wood. And as well, the bottom of the wall is sitting on feet on the floor. The reason I did this is because there was water damage in the room. I was concerned, well, what happens if I have water or moisture again? I built this so there's air circulation behind the floor, and will there ever be a good amount of water, which I don't think is likely, it could go underneath the very bottom stud and I could, deal with it accordingly. Okay, I wanted to show you the rest of the room from another angle. As you can see, there is a lot of wood here. In fact, I had to build 41 linear feet of walls that would be 101 inches high. That's problematic since most 2x stock is 94 or 96 inch high. The other issue is cost. Lumber has just gotten stupid expensive. I figured the cost just to do these walls was around $400. So I simply cut 2x3 stock, which I'm going to go into in another episode, and used wooden plates, glued and screwed them. They're robust and they're not moving. The other thing I did was, I know at the top of some of these spaces between the 2x stock, I'm going to have to create vents for the humidity and air to circulate behind the backdrop wall. This is important because if you don't do that, your backdrop can warp. Another thing that I learned building sets for a semi-professional theater when I was younger was to black out everything that doesn't need to be seen. This is great. I'm not a big fan of the clutter under the bench, and when I have somebody come see my layout, I really want them to focus well on the layout. As you notice here, I painted it up about 48 inches there, and it extends all the way around the room. I've made a lot of progress on the walls. What you see here is old style paneling, and I used this rather than hardboard for the main reason, well, it was free. I like free, one of my favorite flavors. The wood itself, though, is a little bit dry. It can be a little bit problematic, but there are workarounds. As you'll notice at the seam, it's slightly glossier. What I used was wood glue there to seal not only the seams, but to really hold down the fibers of the wood. Going a little bit further, you can see where I've used a belt sander to test out the smoothness across the seam. It worked perfectly. But the last thing I want to show you, and this is just being smart. If you notice down here, I didn't treat the wood. It really doesn't matter what you treat this wood with. I happen to pick up some free deck stain. So you can see where it is untreated on the left, 1 coat in the middle, and 2 coats on the right. And I'll tell you what, it worked fantastic and you can't beat the price. And again, I'm coming back here where I used a belt sander. In the next video, I'm going to go over how I prepare the walls, what I use to skim coat and why, and then we'll begin the process of really finishing this. You'll also notice at the top, well, I figured out the ducts. You can see them there. I just blocked in every third 2x, and I think that will give plenty of air. And then, of course, I have to work on the back wall. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my website. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and stay tuned for more